Hi, welcome to Andrew Buckle book review of Press Graphics, the Golden Age of Graphic Journalism. Now this is 1819 to 1921, which does make me wonder if there's going to be a future volume. Hopefully there will be, of this massive book from Taschen. Now it's huge, you can see it, it weighs a ton as well. It's one of these typical 604 pages, costs about £44, and not the sort of book I thought, you know what, I passed it a number of times. I thought, that sounds interesting, but I never actually looked at what it was about. And as soon as I clicked on it, I thought, you know what, that sounds the sort of book I absolutely love. And wow, this is absolutely solid. You can see 100 years of graphic news items, sort of like comic books, comic strips, obviously on covers of various newspapers, inside as well. And this is massive. Came out in 2023, and let's just go through it. So Taschen, now most of the time, obviously, with Taschen, it's in German, French, etc., English. And it's full of just so many great examples of really, truly superb art, obviously from the 1820s all the way through till obviously 1921. And you can see it includes obviously slightly, maybe a bit earlier as well, unless that is, of course. It actually gives lots of details there. You've got here 1568, so it's actually a bit earlier as well. History obviously covered a bit pre that period. And you can see the quality is just superb, absolutely superb all the way through. And let's just show a few examples here, but it's a real hefty book. That's how you just... Now, these are sort of books, when you get them, you think, I wish they'd included 10,000 more pages than this, because you just go through it and it just... You think, it'd be nice to go through all these old magazines, things like the Illustrated London News. Love those ones, but they're very hard, obviously, to get. I've got quite a few copies of Illustrated London News, but unfortunately all... obviously 20th century, not the ones that are really, really early, obviously 19th century ones. And this includes a lot of examples, but of course it shows only a little bit. And you think, it would be nice to go through a lot more of those old various things. And of course the French ones that show and other ones. And you can see, basically it's a comic strip. There's comic strips all the way through this. Early comic strips, of course, probably obviously not, you wouldn't say, it's like Superman. No, of course it isn't. But it's still, to me, just absolutely brilliant. Really capture that period, that time, far more than probably, obviously, photographs didn't exist in the same way. Obviously, there were some photographs, but illustrations actually, I think, capture it even more in many ways. And actually, there's great examples where you can see a photo and you've got the illustration as well. And sometimes I think the illustrations actually show it and reveal it much more, certainly for early photography. But again, this is just, and it gives, obviously, each time it's got here, you've got the various details. This is from Punch, or as it says, Punch, or the London, whatever it is, Chevrolet, 29th of July, 1843. And it's just page after page after page. And you can see there all the just great illustrations, Illustrated London News. This one as well, another, obviously, is French. Again, basically a comic strip. Comic strip, obviously, on one page, on the front cover, but also, of course, ones that are obviously internal as well. But it just captures that period, that time. And with obviously the details, again, French, German and English as well. But modern press graphics, 1869 to 1921. Very modern, of course. But you've also got, some actually look really, when I looked at them, I thought, that must be a photo, early photo. But it's not. Someone's actually illustrated so much detail. You look and think, really? Wow. Amazing, amazing artists. Just staggering. This is full of just beautiful artwork all the way. Obviously, generally black and white, of course, but there is some colour as well. But it's just glorious. Would love to see an exhibition up at something like the Tate or up in London, the National Gallery or something. It would be just brilliant if they did a sort of old press, probably more British Library, I suppose. British Library one. I've never seen one devoted to the press. There probably has been. Please put in the comments below if you know or been to one that's been of all these sort of old magazines and papers, because that would be really nice to see. Now, I've done a recent one, was a fantasy one, which I didn't go in. I looked at the catalogue and I thought, it's okay, but it's not really something that I was, but I do enjoy generally those exhibitions, and I try to go in most of them, but sometimes another thing is when you go up to London, just run out of time. You go off to this one, you go to this thing, so you can't go to every exhibition as much as it would be nice. But this book, I think, is lovely. Look at that, and you can see there is some colour in it. Just so much, absolutely amazing quality. Now, don't ask me what, it's obviously a derailment of some Southern Express. And you've got other papers, again, full of just so many examples of various papers. And, oof, and it's actually getting quite heavy. So I'm going to put it down now. But you can see this is a real standard, typical Taschen, absolutely superb quality book. Let's have to hold it on my shoulder just because it's hefty to hold. This is just great. Absolutely lovely. One of these books you can just dip into and just read, obviously, the blurb about all the various details, or just look at the amazing quality of the artwork back then. I mean, just staggering. I mean, and also just the history as well. Just really captures that sort of the mood of the time, obviously. Brilliant book. Absolutely love it. And I'm just going to put it down because it, like I say, weighs an absolute ton.